Very good morning, my dear children. In this session, we are going to see about the revision about first terminal exam. The first lesson of in our subject, nature of physical world and measurement. So, in this session, we are revise what are the questions may be asked, what are the points are to remember and write the terminal examinations and how they are represented. So, we are just revise the first lesson. So, just move this just like that, go through topics of what are the methods of involved in scientific method, namely first one systematic observation, controlled experimentation, qualitative and quantitative reasoning, mathematical modeling, prediction and verifications of falsifications of theories. These are the methods involving in the scientific method. And next we are going to see now what do you mean by physics, how they are derived from the forms of Greek word, and what are the meanings of Greek word and how they are used in terms of physics. In next one, the following topics, which means the following topics of just we go through it, not in study elaborately. Branches of physics. Given tabular column means like a mind map diagram means what are the branches or involved in physics, how they are classified, and what is quantified is for the participations in our physics subject. So next topic, namely the branches of in our physics. Classical physics means classical mechanics, thermodynamics, optics, electricity and magnetism, acoustics, astrophysics and relativity. In modern physics containing quantum mechanics, atomic physics, nuclear physics, condensed matter physics, and finally high energy physics. In next, just the following topics of just to go through it, just read it, not in read elaborately. So our exam questions will be started from the topics of measurement. Measurement is nothing but when you can measure what you are speaking about and can express in it numbers, you know something about it. But when you cannot express in it numbers, your knowledge is in a measure of unsatisfactory kind, as said by Lord Kelvin. So first, it may be the first important questions. Types of physical quantities. Physical quantities are classified in two types, namely fundamental or base quantities, and second one derived quantities. Fundamental quantity is nothing but which cannot be expressed in terms of any other physical quantities is called as fundamental quantities. For example, length, mass, time, electric current, temperature, luminous intensity, and finally amount of substance. These are the quantities are called as fundamental quantity. These quantities only can be expressed only in terms of physical quantity, not any other physical quantities, so called as fundamental or base quantities. Second one, derived quantities. The quantities which can be expressed in terms of fundamental quantities is called as derived quantities. The following quantities can be expressed by using a fundamental quantities called as derived quantities. So example, area, volume, velocity and acceleration, force are the derived quantities. And next topic, definition of unit and its types. Unit, it may be asked infrequently, define unit. Unit is nothing but an arbitrarily chosen standard of measurement of a quantity which is accepted internationally is called as unit of the quantity. What are the types of unit? May be fundamental units and derived units. The fundamental quantities O measured is called as fundamental or base units. N, the derived quantities are measured by the unit is called as derived units. There are different types of measurement system, namely FPS method, CGS method, and MKS method. FPS method. So this method, FPS method, is also called as British method. So F represents as foot, and P represents as pound, and S represents as second. In CGS method expressed in terms of Gaussian method. So C represents as centimeter, and G represents as gram, and finally S tells us second. And further we can move MKA system. Here M tells us what do you mean by M represents as meter, and K represents as kilogram, and S represents as second. And finally we are going to throw the SI unit system. This is the most important system because of the system does not varies with respect to time and place to place. So mostly we are using the terms units based on SI. The metric system of international method. So what are the advantages of SI system? It may be asked this question. What are the advantages or what are the features of SI system? Why we are using SI system when compared to another system of units? So we can write as the points of first point. The system makes use of only one unit for one physical quantity, which means a rational system of units. Second one, in the system, all the derived units can be easily obtained from the basic and supplementary units, which means it is coherent system of units. Coherent system of unit is nothing but the unit can be the process of addition, subtraction, and multiplication and divisions process will be occur. In third point, the metric, it is a metric system, which means that multiples and submultiples can be expressed as a power of 10. These are the advantages of SI system. Table 1.2 tells us SI base quantities and units, which means what do you mean by length and what do you mean by mass and what are the values of length, mass, and the following fundamental quantities. Like us, just read the quantities and the data's value. And one more important point, triple point of water. Triple point of water, which means the triple point of temperature of water is 227.3.16 Kelvin. This is an important one mark questions. It may be asked. Next topic, measurement of basic quantities like as length, mass, time, temperature, current, electricity, amount of substance. First of all, we know that what do you mean by radian and what do you mean by steradian. The questions will be asked state, radian, and steradian. So read this above content. What do you mean by radian expressed by the definition, and also steradian. In important 2 mark or 3 mark questions, give a short note on screw gauge. This is a screw gauge device which can be used as measuring accurately the dimensions of object up to maximum 50 millimeter. And also the device worked based on the circular motions of a screw, and finally its least count 0.01 millimeter. In second topic, explain the concept of vernier caliper. Vernier caliper is a versatile instrument, which means it is used for measure the dimensions of object, namely diameter of a hole or depth of a hole, and the least count of vernier caliper is 0.1 millimeter. So the screw gauge and the vernier caliper will be used the measurement of smaller distance. So we can measure larger distance, the methods will be varied, which means in case of we have measured the large distance, we are using the triangulation method and parallax method and finally radar method. So first case is triangulation method. So triangulation method used for to measure the height of an accessible object. So by using this method we can measure the height by using this formula of height h equal to x tan theta. Then second method, parallax method. So parallax method is nothing but changing of places. Parallax method, it can be used to measure the very large distance, such as the distance of planet or a star from the earth can be measured by the parallax method. So parallax method is the name given to the apparent change in the position of an object with respect to the background when the object is seen from two different positions. So this is called as parallax method. How the object distance can be measured by using the parallax method. So what do you mean by parallax method and what are the aims of parallax method, an explanation to draw the diagram neatly and finally simplify these calculations. By the applications of parallax method we can measure another determinations of distance of moon and earth. So we can find the distance of moon from earth. So another method this is, so we get the value. In the last method and important also, radar method. So principle. What are the principle used in radar method is radio echoes. Radio echoes. So first you write the term principle. Radar method work based on the principle of radio echoes and draw the diagram. This is and finally to measure the distance traveled d equal to v into t by 2. In the applications of radar method, to find the example of 1.3, given the value of distance between the planet from the earth and time period, provide in minutes, so converted in seconds, so multiply by 60. So find the value of velocity or speed of the signal. The next topic, theory of errors. In this topic we go to what do you mean by accuracy and precision. So we are right what do you mean by accuracy and given some example, and what do you mean by precision and given some example. And next topic, errors in measurements. Errors in measurement, there are uncertainty in a measurement is called as an error. We know that already, revise elaborately. Just recall them what are the questions may be asked and how we are represented. First, what do you mean by random error, systematic error and gross error? These are the possible error. Systematic error is classified in 5 types, namely instrumental errors, an imperfection in experimental technique or procedure, and third one personal error, and fourth one errors due to an external cases, and finally least count error. The least count error may be asked in 2 more questions. And second one, what do you mean by random error? Random error also is an important questions. Finally, gross error. These are the errors in measurement. And next topic, error analysis. What are the error, how we can predict it and how they are analyzed. First one, absolute error. Absolute error is nothing but the arithmetic mean value of this called as true value of the quantity is called as absolute error. And mean absolute error in these equations. And relative error, these questions will be asked in another way of what do you mean by fractional error and percentage error. These are the error analysis. And most important topic, propagations of error. How we are propagate the errors in the individual measurements by ourselves. And second case is on the nature of the mathematical operations performed to get the final result. We should know the rules to combine the errors. So first of all, in the topics of propagation error, we can learn errors in sum of two physical quantities. So del A and del B are the absolute errors of the physical quantities E and B. So find the mean measured value of E, B and consider the sum to adding the measured value of E and B and separate them. Finally, we get the value of del Z equal to del A plus del B. The maximum possible error in the sum of two physical quantities equal to the sum of the absolute error in individual quantities. This is the error in addition. In second topic, error in subtraction, which means here error in the difference of two quantities. So same process, the two quantities of E and and B, the measured value, and subtract the two value. So consider the difference Z equal to A minus B. So subtracting the both value, we get the value of del Z equal to del E plus del Z. So the same value, but here is the difference of two quantities. And third one, error in the product of two quantities. So same process, taking two absolute errors del E and del B, consider the product of Z equal to AB, multiply and simplify, we get the value of del Z by Z equal to plus or minus del A by A plus del B by B. So in this result tells us the maximum fractional error in the product of two quantities is equal to the sum of the fractional errors in the individual quantities. Finally, errors in the divisions of quotient of two quantities. Same process, to dividing the following represent the we get the value of like this. And finally, we are going to the important topic, significant figures. What do you mean by significant figures? How we can represent it by the significant figures by using some rules. So significant figures, these are the definitions of the significant figures. The digits that are known reliably plus the first uncertain digit are known as significant figures. And then after moving the round off method, this is an important 5 more questions. What are the rules for counting significant figures? And give an example. And next question, what are the rules for rounding off method, and provide some example. And finally, dimension analysis. So dimension analysis, it may be asked what are the dimensional quantities and dimensionless quantities. Principle of homogeneity. Principle of homogeneity is an important questions. This one is. And applications of limitations of methods of dimension analysis. What are the advantages used in dimensional analysis? These are the points. Point number 1 and 2 and 3. This is the important applications of dimension analysis. The first point, to convert a physical quantity from one system of unit to another system. And second point, to check the dimensional correctness of a given physical equations. And third one, to establish the relation among the various physical quantities. So each point having a simple example. So every example must be asked in 5 more questions. First point, in second point, then after third point. So finally we are going to conclude our first lesson. What are the limitations of dimension analysis? So provide 5 points, revise the 5 points, and complete the first lesson. If you have any doubt, ask me. So in the example problem, which means worked problem, just revise it. Thank you.